Welcome to this webinar. I'm super excited that you're taking the time to watch this short video that I made for you about how to lose weight and keep it off for good, according to the newest scientific research. My name is Hanna Lukács. I'm a personal trainer, a research scientist, and a mother of 2 children. And my passion is to inspire people to make changes in their lives that will make them feel good, especially when it comes to their health and fitness. If you're like me, you not only want to lose weight, but you also want to have more energy, better focus, better sleep, better digestion at the same time, right? In the last 20 years, I have literally tried every single diet on planet Earth. I went from emotional overeating to almost anorexic malnutrition. I went from being the lazy couch queen to exercising 3 to 4 hours a day. And even though I'm not an expert in the field, and there are much better and smarter health experts, I learned everything by trial and error, and I'm constantly researching the new science, being the scientist myself, and I'm sharing what I learned with the people. I do believe that we are all different and there is no one size fits all when it comes to weight loss. That's why there is no one secret solution that everyone should follow. However, there are some basic rules and guidelines that applies to every human beings, and there are resources that you can use to personalize your own weight loss plan. By the end of this webinar, you will be able to create the right plan for yourself, and then it's up to you whether you do the work or not. You will know exactly what to do. So before we go into the strategies, it's worth to look at some of the history, as we will understand exactly why and how we got into this situation that 70% of the United States population is either overweight or obese, and the rest of the world is catching up very quickly. One thing is for sure, our civilization has changed enormously in the last few hundred years, and the human body is unable to adapt to these fast changes. One of the best proof for this is the blue zones, which are 5 regions of the world were thought to have a higher than usual number of people live much longer than average. It was identified by Gianni Paz and Michael Pullen. You can read about it online. These people are usually healthier, happier, and leaner than most people in the modern societies. They live very close to nature, in terms of lifestyle, and most of them follow a pre-industrial diet. That means very natural food, high in nutrients, and almost zero processed food. Another interesting fact is that obesity is basically unknown in the animal world also, except for animals who live with humans. So there is no question that we are getting fatter. And what is even more scary is that it affects children as well. Me being a mother myself, I am very, very conscious about it. So let's take a look at what changed over the years that are causing this trend and how we can stop this. Because if we understand the cause, we can also solve the problem, right? One of the most obvious change over the last 300 years is that we eat way more sugar than we used to. The yearly sugar consumption from 1 to 2 raised from 1 to 5 kilos. That's around 2 to 10 pounds per person. It has increased to about 50 to 60 kilos. That's 110, 130 pounds per person per year. And most of it we don't even know about, because the majority of this is the hidden sugar and other carbohydrate sources in processed food like mayonnaise, tomato sauces, bread, fruit juices, and a lot of other food products. I'm not saying food on purpose, I'm saying food products. They have a high carbohydrate content, and when you read the label, most of the time you don't even know it because they have tricky names, but they all mean sugar. The next most important factor in our lifestyle changes is that we are definitely more lazy. Pre-industrial men used to do mostly physical work. They were more active during and after work hours. Today, we get in our car to go and sit in an office, then take the car home to sit on a couch and play games or watch TV. Luckily, more and more people are recognizing the importance of a physically active life, mostly after work, but the working hours spent behind computers are definitely making us burn less calories. When you look at the next chart, one of the most obvious change in the consumption of dietary fat is vegetable oils. This will be super important as these mostly contain omega-6 fatty acids, which are essential but are not only pro-inflammatory but also they affect the structure of our every single cell in the human body, which will have a negative effect on cellular metabolism. I will discuss this later in more details, but let's take a look at the total calorie intake over the years. While we move less, we also eat more. The average daily calorie intake increased by 20% in the last 50 years. According to another study where they compared the calorie intake from high versus low nutrient value food, it was found that the calorie intake from highly nutritious food did not change. However, the low nutrient value food increased. Well, that explains a lot. It is also called as type B malnutrition or hidden hunger. This means that while we eat enough calories, the nutrient level of our food is so low we are missing out on vitamins, minerals, and other micronutrients that compromises our normal functioning of our bodies, our immune system, and slows down our metabolism. Okay, so what can we do to get rid of the excess fat and feel good and healthy for once and for all? I truly believe that there is no one-size-fits-all solution, and we all need trial and errors and do a lot of research to find out what works for us and what doesn't. But there are some basic rules and some myths that were very, very popular a few decades ago, but today we know that they don't really work. One of the basic rules, one thing that I always tell my clients is forget about the scale, at least for the beginning. Use for before and after photos and use measuring tape instead. Number 2, forget about diets. Think in lifestyle change and think in meal planning. Number 3, have a plan and stick to it for at least 21 days. Then it becomes a habit. It usually takes about 21 days for a change, for our brain to accept that this is the new norm. Number 4, think long term. Be patient and be consistent. Don't jump on the scale or take a picture of yourself every single day. Stick to the 80 to 20 rule. It's okay to fail, but be good 80% of the time. It's okay to still enjoy a birthday cake once in a while, but make sure that you are following your rules that you found that you work for you 80% of the time. And think in weeks. So it's very important to keep a calorie deficit throughout the week, but not a day. So it means that I can have bad days, but then I need to make sure that I make up for it. And the calorie deficit should be for 1 week total. Number 7, implement regular several days fastings. Fasting is amazing. It cleans your body, it boosts your energy. It's recommended to do 1 or 2 per year to cleanse your whole body and inside out. So I highly recommend that. Also, feed your body with nutritious food. The rule of thumb is usually if it didn't exist 200 years ago, it's probably bad for you. So overall, what we can do to lose weight, I have good news and bad news. The good news is you won't need to go on a diet and starve yourself until you lose weight. You lose the weight that you want. The bad news is that you will have to make a few changes to your lifestyle that becomes your new you. You might already be doing some of these, but there is always room for improvements, especially if you are not at your ideal weight. The 2 main rules that will determine what the scale shows is number 1, what you put in your body, and number 2, how you use your body. First of all, we need to eat less calories than we used to. So our body can use up the reserve fat, body fat as energy. But this cannot be a drastic change because when our body can go into a serious saving mode and lower our metabolism and learn how to live on less calories while keeping all the excess weight for the hard times. So that's not a good idea. It's a good idea to track your calories in before you change anything so you know how much your body is used to right now, and then decrease it by about 500 to 1,000 calories a day if you can, but don't go below 2,000. Make sure these are consisting of highly nutritious natural food, possibly organic food, with as little additives, preservatives, colorants, stabilizers, and so on, because these will be processed in your body as toxins and need to be stored in the fatty tissues, because the toxins are stored in the fat. So the less toxins we have, the less fat we are holding on to. In the next slide, I am showing you the 10 companies that produce most of our food product. These simply didn't exist 100 years ago. There's only so much toxic waste that can be removed by our liver and kidneys, and they are genetically simply not made for all the added crap that the processed and ultra processed diet give us. So toxins are stored in the fatty tissues, as I mentioned before, and the more toxin you store, the more fat you will need to have, and it will decrease your or slow down your metabolism as well. So it's absolutely crucial that our macronutrients are coming from natural sources. These are the type of food sources that will provide the energy for our body. The carbohydrate, the proteins, and the fats. These are the macronutrients. We need all of them, but we are all different with different metabolic types. To me, it was life-changing when I worked as an assistant with a nutritional coach and learned about my metabolic type. Some people are fast oxidizers, some are slow, and some are mixed. This means that some people will need more meat or vegetable protein sources in their diets, and they can just eat salad with it with little or no starch. I am, for example, a slow oxidizer. I metabolize a meal much better when it contains a lot of carbohydrate, about 70%, and only 20% protein and 10% fat. Of course, these must be naturally sourced macronutrients as much as possible, so healthy carbohydrate, but still I need to eat a lot more than, for example, my husband, who is a protein, a meat type. So go online and Google it. There are really good online questionnaires to find out what is your type. There are other approaches that differentiate between body types, like Ayurvedic approach or other like blood type, diets on blood types. Those are also very good, but you need to find the one that you resonate with. For me, the metabolic typing was a good way to go. If you prefer to follow a specific diet type, it will be a good idea to find out your metabolic type again. For example, if you are a fast oxidizer, you might get very good results with the keto or the paleo diets. As you see on the bottom, it's mostly green vegetables, and the most important macronutrients here are the protein sources. So grains and fruit that are high in carbohydrates contain only a little part of this diet on the top of the pyramid. However, if you are a slow oxidizer like me, you will be much more successful and happy with the Mediterranean diet. This will allow you to have whole grains as well as a glass of wine, so that's a perfect choice for me. Very often we are not able to make a healthy meal. We are in a hurry, or simply we want to replace one of our main meals by a delicious meal replacement shake in order to lose weight faster, right? It's not a bad idea, but when choosing the right one, it's also important to know our metabolic type and look for the ingredient. Many of these are simply protein powders with nothing else in it, which will only provide one type of macronutrient and will miss out on many important micronutrients like minerals and vitamins in a complete meal. So our cells will still be starving by not getting all the nutrients that we need. And this is wrong, and I don't recommend to go for just a simple protein meal to replace one of your meals. Look for a shake that is packed with healthy vitamins and minerals and has a low carbohydrate and high quality protein content. My favorite choice is the lean shake from Zinzino, which comes in vegan version as well. It's high in fiber and it has 25 different vitamins and minerals in it, while very low in calories. So there are also excellent recipes online, so you never get bored of it. While it's very important to get the right quality and quantity of macronutrients, it's also crucial to boost your metabolism when you want to lose weight. This will consist of 3 elements. 1. Eating more metabolism boosting foods like spinach, grapefruit, ginger or broccoli, and drinking lots of purified water and some green tea. Number 2, cleaning the gut and balancing the microbiome. We'll talk about that later. Number 3, increasing cellular metabolism by maintaining a healthy cell membrane. And that will also be discussed just now. Improving muscle function is also important to utilize more energy from food macronutrients. In the next few minutes, I'm going to explain all of these in the details. So eating metabolism boosting food is definitely a healthier choice and might help in your weight loss process. So I listed a few below. However, some research shows that while certain foods may have very minor effects on your metabolism, and there aren't any food that can significantly speed it up or slow it down so much that you should be regularly searching to eat or avoid them. I included them here due to the nutrient content, because you should rather eat these than processed food with the same calorie value. The importance here is to eat foods that are very high in micronutrients but relatively low in calories. Many people find it difficult to eat 10 or 12 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. That's recommended, especially a very high variety of those. They are super important to boost our metabolism, alkalize the body, and help in filling the cells with good nutrients. So when you're eating less to lose weight, you need to make sure that your cells are not starving. That means they are getting vitamins, minerals, and the micronutrients that they need. That's why I always recommend supplementing with superfood supplements that contains vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, but we also need other little things like carotenoids and cyanogens and other essential micronutrients that are derived from food. My number one choice here is Extend or Extend Plus, again from Zinsino, which is a Swedish company, and it's a Norwegian formula, so it's a Scandinavian formulation that has 145 health benefits claimed by the European Food and Safety Agency. 4 capsules a day is equal to eating 9 kilos, which is around 20 pounds of fruit and vegetables every day. One of the most important factors that people tend to forget when talking about weight loss is a healthy gut, for 2 reasons. First, a good cleansing of your large intestines can already show you being lighter on the scale, because your intestines can hold 2 to 18 kilos, which is about 4 to 40 pounds of waste in your body. So it's a good idea to get it cleansed. Again, by detoxing or going fasting is a good idea. Secondly, the research showed that certain types of bacteria in your gut has a different effect on weight loss than others. Very simply said, there are good and not so good bacteria in our gut who are constantly fighting for survival. One type of bacteria likes to feed on simple carbohydrates like sugar, white flour, or anything processed, while the other types like resistant starches like oats and green bananas and flaxseed. Most people in our more modern society eat a lot more simple carbs, so we don't eat enough fiber, and therefore we are feeding the bad bacteria more. This will cause them grow, which will not only produce pro-inflammatory chemicals in the gut, but also sending signals to the brain to eat more simple sugars. Based on this theory, feeding the good bacteria with resistant starch will help to reduce inflammation in the gut, but it can also help to stabilize the blood sugar levels, and therefore it has a positive effect in weight loss as well. Okay, so how can we increase the good bacteria in our gut? First, we can add the good bacteria by eating certain foods like yogurt and fermented food. But I always advise to avoid dairy products because of the inflammatory effect in the gut. So maybe sauerkraut or pickles or tempeh and miso might be a better choice. We must also feed the good bacteria for them to multiply. So this is done by prebiotic fibers. They will help the good bacteria to grow and balance the gut microbiome. My supplement choice here in this category is Xenobiotic, which is a blend of 8 natural prebiotic fibers. Most fiber supplement on the market only contains 2 or 3 types of dietary fibers, which are fermented in certain parts of the large intestines. This means that the good bacteria which live in other regions of the intestines will not be fed. Now, a xenobiotic is time released, so it means that it ensures the healthy microbiome throughout the whole intestinal tract, including the colon, which is the root of most chronic digestive illnesses like colon cancer. So it's a very, very good choice. The third aspect of our healthy weight loss is how we can boost our cellular metabolism. In order to understand it, we must go back in time a little bit and see how our diet has changed over the last 100 years with regards to our dietary fat intake, which I had mentioned at the beginning. One of the very important changes that happened is that due to eating way more processed food and vegetable oils that contains mostly omega-6 fatty acid, the ratio between our omega-6 and 3 fatty acid intake has changed dramatically. It's very, very imbalanced nowadays. This is important because genetically we are programmed to have the same amount of these, which take up the most part of our cell membranes. Science suggests that in order to have a healthy cell membrane and other life functions also, like inflammatory functions, we should not have more than 5 times more omega-6 fatty acids in our bodies than omega-3. Now, doctors usually say no more than 3 times omega-6. This was pretty much the case until the 60s, while we were eating food from Mother Nature. When the food industry started the mass productions, and now we live mostly on grains and livestock fed by artificial food, this ratio has changed all over the world. And now an average American have about 25 more omega-6 fatty acid in their cell membrane than omega-3. This is a widely researched topic nowadays, as you can see this search results in PubMed. And the research shows that the increase in the omega-6 omega-3 ratio, so more omega-6 than omega-3, increases the risk of obesity for several reasons. One of them is that too much omega-6 fatty acid in the cell membrane will reduce its fluidity. So the nutrients won't be able to get in properly and the waste products can hardly get out. In this case, the cells are starving and the metabolism slows down. On top of that, since the cells make up the tissues and the tissues make up the organs, an unhealthy cell will not be able to function properly and it will cause illness in the different organs. This is a highly inflamed state of the body, which is not only a weight concern, but it results in serious chronic illnesses as well. So due to a very simple home-based blood test that we can do, we are able to measure everyone's individual results, including the cell membrane fluidity and omega-6 to 3 ratios. A simple prick on a finger and a few drops of blood need to be collected on a sampling paper, which is dried and sent to an independent laboratory to Norway. This internationally recognized lab will analyze our anonymous blood sample and we can check our results within 2 to 3 weeks via a code on their website. After analyzing over 700,000 tests worldwide, we have the single biggest fatty acid database. The results are self-explanatory. 97% of the world's population have an omega-6 to 3 ratio that is higher than the safe 3 to 1 zone. The average in the United States is about 25 to 1, but I have seen the results that are close to 100 to 1, which is very dangerous. So what can we do to solve this and to increase our cellular metabolism? If you can, the best way is to eat 2 to 3 kilos, about 4-7 pounds, wildly caught fresh salmon or other fish and seafood every single week. But not many people can do that. So my best choice in this category is Balance Oil, which is a special fish oil, olive oil and vitamin D blend that can restore your cell membrane's normal fluidity within about 6 to 8 months. Very often after 120 days we can already see the good results. Very important, Balance Oil is not fish oil. It's a very special blend with olive polyphenols, which makes it possible to stay unoxidized and stable for about 30 hours after taking it in the bloodstream, as opposed to simple fish oil, which only has about 9 hours in the body to have an effect before it oxidizes, falls apart. in the body. So like all other Zinzino food superfood supplements, this is also 100% natural with zero fishy aftertaste, and it comes in different natural citrus flavors. To summarize, what we can do on top of all the diet tips is what we call the health protocol. So the 3 supplement choices that are recommended above. These three superfood products will ensure that your body is getting 90% of the micronutrients what it needs for a healthy cellular metabolism, healthy gut function, and an overall energy. This is important because we tend to go down on energy levels when we cut back on macronutrients like carbohydrate, protein, and fat. So we need to make sure that we are still feeding our cells properly. And last but not least, a very important topic, exercise. Long gone the myth that we need to do long cardio exercises to lose body fat. It is true that the body uses fat during the workout, but what matters most is what happens after the gym. The afterburn is way more important, and that's why I recommend the high intensity interval workouts, HEAT, for those who can do the work. For the ones with less mobility, it's still important to get our heart rate up by cycling or using the elliptic trainer or walking the stairs. The main point is to alternate the high intensity and low intensity phases. This way, we can get a good workout done in as little as 10 to 15 minutes, and the body will still be burning fat hours after the exercise. The other method is super slow resistance training that can be done at home or in the gym. The main point here is heavy weights and very, very slow movement. You can learn more about this online. There are many good workout sessions on YouTube. Well, I hope this was helpful and you are now full of ideas of what to do to get the desired body weight for good. If you are interested in any of the supplements that I mentioned, please feel free to reach out to the person who showed you this video or who invited you to watch this webinar, because they probably will have more information about it. For now, I hope that you got some value, and I wish you very, very good luck on your weight loss journey. This is super exciting to change your lifestyle. Have a great day. Bye bye.